Hi, and welcome to On Console, the video blog about my journey to becoming a certified NASA flight controller. Hi again, Jenny here. This episode will be on telemetry and command recovery, which is segment 4, module 2 of the Cronus flight controller training. So what do I mean by telemetry and command recovery? Well, segment 4 also covers S-band FITR. Remember, S-band contains some of our voice channels to and from the crew, and it's also really important because it's our main path for commanding up to the ISS. And also remember, FITR stands for Fault Detection, Isolation, and Recovery, and is an automated process that the ISS executes in order to recover something. Now, depending on what failed, it can look like an unexpected LOS, a loss of signal, here on the ground. So instead of all of our data being green and updating continuously, it goes cyan blue and goes stale. So when we first see this, Cronus coordinates with another position in mission control, ground control or GC, to try and figure out if this is a problem on board or on the ground. Because the problem doesn't have to be up in space. Sometimes it could be something like a bad line on the ground or even sometimes weather conditions at our ground stations. So S-band has two fully redundant strings. So when S-band FITR kicks off, we're switched over to the backup string within about 10 minutes or so, at which point we regain our data, commanding capability, and our voice with the crew. Now, currently, in real time, we mostly get our data over KU band, so instead of seeing the LOS, we can actually see the entire process occurring, and we can let the team know right away what's happening. S-band FITR also includes GNC FITR. Now, the GNC MDM is a computer on board that's in charge of guidance and navigation, and one of its responsibilities is to provide pointing data to make sure the antennas have a good link with the satellites. Now, if FITR sees no GNC or bad pointing data for 7 minutes, it'll switch us over to low data rate, which uses the low gain antenna. Why 7 minutes? Seems kind of random, right? Well, remember, usually we want to be in high data rate, which uses the high gain antenna, the conical one that can actually point towards the satellite. Now, when it fails, when something happens to the pointing data, the antenna stops, and it turns out it takes about 7 minutes for the satellite to roll out of view of our high gain antenna. If you remember from another episode, the low gain antenna, the LGA, doesn't need pointing data because it's a stationary omnidirectional antenna, kind of like a little half sphere. Now, the bad part of this is that our data to and from the ISS gets much slower. We only have one of two S-band voice channels, and we're only able to see a satellite for the first half of each pass. The nice thing about having S-band and KU band is that the KU antenna only needs the GNC pointing data for the beginning of a pass in order to pick up the satellite. After that, a part of the KU system is able to track it the rest of the way. So even if we don't have good pointing data and go into low data rate, at least we'll be able to have some fast data over KU and 2 more voice channels. But if we don't have any pointing data, we'll hopefully recover a GNC before the next pass. Otherwise, we'll really feel the effects of low data rate once KU drops out because it can't find the next satellite. That's all for this episode. Be sure to check out my other sites and pages and take a look at the first or previous episodes if you haven't already. Well, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time and for many more, as we get one step closer to being on console. Thanks! Have a great week!